bigger, I think. Someone just my internet at home.
Don't worry, I will admit people.
All right. Is it good now? So today presentation is two parts. One part's about symbols of Canada. The book has a lot of symbols, so you might want to go through all of them because we really don't know which one will come for the exam. But I think in this presentation, we cover most of them. Again, before we start, we do have to acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional and ceded territories of the Coast Salish people, especially the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsaleil-Waututh nations, upon whose territory we work, we play, and we have this privilege of living. So we just have to acknowledge we are on their territory. I'm guessing everyone is now super expert in the housekeeping, so I'm just gonna skip that. And again, the same thing, if you have a question, you can use a chat or you can unmute yourself, and Mustafa and Huda, if you want to add anything, feel free to do that as well. So the symbols of Canada, there are quite a lot of symbols here. One of them is the Canadian crown. So the Canadian crown is a key symbol of Canada's government, and it could be indicated, you can see it on the Parliament, on the Legislative Assembly, on the courts, on the police services of Canada, and it's the armed forces. So I think it's on the papers and everything is the crown of the Canadian crown, which is, this is, yeah, so I don't have much information about the Canadian crown. I don't know, Mustafa, if you have any more information regarding the Canadian crown, but it's one of the key symbols of Canada, and that's what is represents, basically.
Yeah, you see these symbols, when they open the Parliament, you see it in the House Court, you see it the RCMP, in any police department. So you will see this symbol, the crown symbol, in many government offices.
Thank you, Mustafa.
Yeah.
This is, for me, is the hardest symbol because I don't really know what exactly where to see it. But I'm guessing it's all these places. So I'm just gonna go for the next one. And then you have the Canadian national flag. So currently the maple leaf is the latest version, which, as we did on the history part, if you remember, or in 1965, it was placed on the Peace Arch in Ottawa, and it has been this flag since the beginning. So that's another symbol of Canada. It's a unique flag which only represents Canada. And this is the present. And then you have the maple leaf, which is another symbol of Canada. So the maple leaf, you can see it on it's been there, like they track it back since early 1700s. And the maple leaf, you can appears on the uniforms of soldiers, and uniforms of like any since the 1850s. So it's one of the biggest symbols of Canada. And we have the maple syrup, of course, you all know, from the maple tree, which is one of the symbols of Canada. So there was a myth that these spikes represent the number of provinces of Canada. That's not true. They asked that on the exam, because if you see the American flag, all the stars, they represent the states of America. So there was a myth that these spikes of the leaf, they represent the number of provinces or states of the Canada, but that's not correct. I'm not sure if they're going to be asking you that tricky question, like as a false or true or false, but it's just a maple leaf. This is how it looks like. So far, so good? Okay. And then you have the coat of arms and mottos. So this is a symbol. It has been there since World War I, and it's actually it's closely related to the one of the UK. The only thing that what they had, they added this. They added this like ribbon here, which is the Canadian one, where it says it means from sea to sea. And it means mari usque ad mari. I think it's Latin, if I'm not mistaken, or Greek. It should be Latin. and it means from sea to sea. And this is what's been addition done here for Canada. Where's my mouse? Sorry, this is the addition that's been done, this ribbon here. And you can see the maple leaves. You can see like how many maple leaves are there. So this is like one of the symbols, like the arms of Scotia, which you can see like on the official documents, I believe, as well. And it just symbolizes, I guess, the unity and the kingdom. You know, back in the time, every country or every kingdom, they still have this coat of arms and motto. Yeah. All right. So this is, yeah. And then there are symbolic sports. There are lots of Canadian sports, which this is one thing they can ask you on the exam. Like they can give you 5, 6 sports and they tell you which one of these is not Canadian symbol or which one of this is symbol of Canada. It could be either way. We all know the hockey, which is really super Canadian. So that's one of the main symbols and one of the biggest sports of Canada, being like with fans. And then you have the Canadian football, which is another symbol of Canada. It's not the same as a rugby. And then you have the curling. You don't know, I'm not sure if you all know the curling, but the curling is done like on ice, and it's basically they like, it's like a disc they try to throw, and then someone tries to wipe the floor to make less friction, and they go into the middle of the circle like a target hit. We can show you a video of the curling. It's very Canadian. And then you have lacrosse, which is also a Canadian sport. And it's basically like badminton, like they have like a net, but it's like a long stick, like a racket with a net, and they just throw the ball from one place to another until they reach the goal, and it's placed on the field. So if you don't know this, you can just Google like any YouTube or any video of lacrosse or the curling, and you can see how it's played. But these are the symbolic sports of Canada. So in that test, they may put you, I don't know, curling, soccer, baseball, swimming, whatever, you know, something like that. And then which one of these is Canadian or vice versa, right? And that would be, yeah, could be a question in the exam. So far so good. Am I going too fast? Is it any questions? Can you still hear me, Mustafa and Huda? Because I cannot see anything.
No
Okay.
problem.
Can you show me the crown symbol? Can you go back and show me the crown symbol? Crown.
The Canadian crown?
Yeah. Is this a Canadian crown or is it a mace of days or something they call this?
Sorry again?
It is called as mace of days.
The Mace of Base?
Yeah. I don't think so. This is the crown. The Canadian crown.
Really? Okay.
I don't know.
Can you check the book, Huda or Mustafa?
Thank you so much. That's
No,
all.
thank you for pointing it out. Let's double check that. All right, because we don't want to give the wrong information, which hopefully it's we didn't make a mistake, but yeah, hopefully it's good. But can you please, Huda or Mustafa, just check the book about the Canadian crown, or Google it, just see what comes out. And I think it's only this part, like it's just the top part, which is the crown part here with a cross.
No, excuse me, I see the same on the page
It's the same.
38.
Yeah, exactly.
Page 38 is the first one on the right, on the left, sorry. And there's the flag.
Yeah.
All right, so this is correct, the Canadian crown. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here.
It's not, I don't think it's like the whole like stick. I think it's just this part. This is what they mean by the Canadian crown. This is a symbol that you can see on the courts and things like that. I'm not sure if you see the whole stick, but I don't know if it's the whole name for that.
But it
And
looks
there's
like a
also
crown.
something called Victoria Cross, which is like the highest honor they give to the soldiers. It's called Victoria Cross, which is like a pin they put on the uniforms, and that's called Victoria Cross. And I think they only gave like 60 or 70 of them for now, and since Canada was created in the last like almost 200 years or 160 years, whatever it is. So, and that's on the book Victoria Cross. So if they ask you, which is the highest, I think is like the highest honor for heroes, is giving for war heroes. It's called Victoria Cross, and only few have been giving so far, not too much. So we're just gonna go back to coats of arms, and then these are the Canadian sports as well that we talked about, and then basketball. So basketball is a Canadian invention, even though it's super famous in the NBA in America, but it's a Canadian invention, and it was invented by Dr. James Naismith, who was actually a physical instructor, educator, like he was a sports teacher, basically. So what happened was that he was asked from his boss that they need to create an indoor sport because Canadians get cold too as well. In the winter, it was super cold outside. So he created basketball for an indoor sport. And I'm guessing from the picture, it was just someone holding a basket, literally speaking, and then they just have to throw the ball in it. And then it became different. But I didn't know that until I read the book. I didn't know that basketball was a Canadian invention. So, and they might ask you about the name of the person who invented basketball. And then you have the beaver that we talked about during the first, I think the second day of the history. So the beaver is a Canadian symbol as well. So this is the fur of the beaver that the settlers used to take. It's the fur that they used to, because it's a very soft and thick fur. So this is the one that they used to trade to Europe to create coats and to create, I don't know, hats, you know, for the fashion. And as I mentioned, that was from Tim's, my coworker. He gave me this information, and I'm sharing it again here. So there was a point that it was almost extinct because of the trading. And then what happened was that in Europe, the fashion changed. I think they started going to silk and things and fabric. And so the hunting became less, luckily. And then the population grew back. So the beaver, you can see it on the Canadian nickel. If you have a 5 cent, it's on the 5 cent. Okay, and it's also on the coats of arms for Toronto. So this is a symbol of like the city of Toronto, and they have the beaver. Canada has like 2 lions, the one that we've seen before, but this one is for Toronto is a beaver. All right. So in the test, they might ask you like I don't know which animal symbolizes Canada. You can have like a bear, a moose, a beaver, a salmon. There are a lot of them in Canada, but it's the beaver. Or they can ask you on which coin does the beaver show? Is it like on a nickel, on a toonie, loonie, you know? And then you just have to know it's on the, or they can give you 5 cents. It's on the 5 cents on the nickel. Right, and also apparently also the coats of arms of Saskatchewan and Alberta, they also have, and Montreal and Toronto, they all have the beaver in their logos, in their like coats of arms motto. So far so good. Okay, so let's continue. Then you have Canada. Whoops, sorry. So another symbol of Canada is its official bilingual country. So, and then this bilingualism, or these 2 languages, they actually symbolize the equal respect to both the English side and the French side. Like there's like equal respect, and therefore this is why English and French, they both became the official language of Canada on the federal level. All right, and that was on the Official Language Act on 1969. So that's a very important act. All right. However, let's refresh the memory. As Mustafa was mentioning, so this is on the federal level, and then each province, they have like official language. For example, British Columbia, we are English. If you go to Quebec, it's French. There's only one province that has bilingual official languages. Can someone remember which province was that?
Nunavut.
New Brunswick.
New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Yes, New Brunswick is the only bilingual province. The only bilingual province where if you call the education center, they have English and French. And if you call immigration from there, they also have English and French. So they just have, you know, works on both ways. All right, so that is the another thing. So the most spoken languages in Canada. So this is based on the 2016 census. So it's probably the same like ratings, but maybe the higher numbers, but probably the same thing, the same list. So the highest one is English, spoken by 58% of the population. And then the second most spoken language is French, which is by 21%, almost a quarter of the population. And then the third most spoken language in Canada is Mandarin and Cantonese, which is about 3.5% of the population speak that language. All right. So I think it would be good just to fresh for this, the last census, which was I think 2020 was done, or I'm not sure if there's anyone 2020 done, but it should be the same, like first English, second French, and third Cantonese. Just maybe the percentage would change, but I'm guessing it's going to be the same list. So the Mounties are very symbolic of Canada, right? So so these are the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which is the RCMP. We call them the Mounties because they mount on horses, so they call them Mounties. And they have they provide a lot of services. So apart from just the normal municipal police, which you see on the street, they are also doing the national security, and they're also doing the intelligence gathering. So like the CIA and FBI, things like that, they all are done here by the RCMP. They have different departments, but it's all under the same RCMP, our Mounties. And this is a uniform, which is very typical of Canada. So if you go, when they open back in Burnaby, there is the, in Deer Lake, if you know Deer Lake in Burnaby, there's a village. It's called, what is it called? Burnaby Village or Old Village?
Burnaby Museum.
Burnaby Museum.
Yeah.
There we go. So if you have, I don't know if it's open now, but
yeah, it is.
It is. So if you go, it's in Deer Lake, which is in Burnaby. And this Burnaby Museum is like an old town or old village in the 1800s. And then you can see the houses, how they are, the kitchens and all the stuff, the shops. You can do like a tour inside the village. And then from time to time, you can see a guy dressed like Mounties like this, taking pictures with people. It's really fun. It's really nice to go and see how Canada was in a long time ago.
Yeah, and also Feroz, sorry to interrupt. And then the people who works there, they will dress like that time, the 20s. So it's really fun.
Yeah, in the 1800s or something. It's very, it's really nice to go. If you have time to go and see it, it's like half a day or less. It's not like a big place. Then you have the national anthem, which is another symbol of Canada because it's just pure Canadian. So we have two national anthems, right? There's a national anthem, sorry, two anthems, sorry about that. There's a national anthem, which is All Canada, which you should be knowing because you probably have to sing it on the ceremony. And then we have the Queen, the royal anthem, which is called God Save the Queen. This is the title of the anthem. And this is the royal anthem, which is sang when the Queen comes to Canada. Or there's like, I don't know if it's sang on any other occasions, Mustafa or Huda, but I know usually when the Queen comes, they have the royal anthem just for her. And then we have the national anthem, that's title is All Canada, which everyone knows. You want to add anything else, Mustafa, for this one, or Huda? Because I'm not sure if the royal anthem is sang on any other occasions.
I think it's very important to practice our anthems, you know, at least when you go to the ceremony, it will be nice if you know it and sing it together with the judges.
Yeah, and sometimes in the exam, they ask you about the lyrics, which is the Oh Canada, our home and native land. So they might ask you for the first 4 lines of the national anthem. Right? Usually, sometimes I do that. I've seen questions where they ask you for the first 4 lines of the national anthem. I mean, they give you a multiple choice and you just have to choose which one's correct. But it'd be good to know it because you're going to be singing it on the celebration, on the ceremony day with the judge. And then you have public holidays. So these are the public holidays of Canada, which is symbolic dates. Some of them are like international, like New Year's Day, Christmas Day, but some of them are purely Canadian, only Canadian, like John MacDonald Day, which I'm not sure who celebrates that. It's a different province, not in BC. But then, for example, we have Vimy Day, which is a thing celebrated in Quebec, and that's April 9th. That's the war of World War I, the battle that the Canadians won in France. Vimy Day, in the Vimy Ridge battle. And then we have Victoria Day, which is celebrated in BC. We all know this. So this is typical for Canadian one, only here, and the Vimy Day as well. Canada Day, it's a national one, but it's only Canadian. And then you have Remembrance Day, November 11, in which we remember the fallen soldiers. So these are only Canadians. These are only Canadian dates. I don't know about, yeah, November 20th as well, probably. But if they, I'm not really going to be asking. They're probably going to be asking about the main ones, which is Remembrance Day, Victoria Day, Canada Day, you know, Victoria Day, because we are in BC, so they might ask you more about BC. But it's good just to have a look at it.
I think there's one more day added this year, the Indigenous People Day. It's not here. It's brand new.
Yeah, it's been added like a month ago, right?
Yeah, it's a brand new holidays.
We have to add that to the slide. Yeah, so Indigenous Day, they might ask you that on the exam because it's very new. And with all that's been happening with the schools and you know, residential schools, so they might really bring that up. It's very new, and it was, yeah, it was. Thank you, Mustafa. We have to add that to the slide, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, when is that? When is Indigenous Day? I know it's happening soon, but I can't remember.
It's a day to I think to remember all the Indigenous people of Canada,
Yeah,
to recognize them.
September 30.
September 30. So it's coming up. Is it national holiday though, or just like it's going to be a national holiday?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's it's a stat holiday, but yeah.
That's holiday, September 20. It's a very new one, just been added recently after what happened with the residential schools. So yeah, September 30th, if they ask you on the exam, that's a new day, new holiday has been added. Thank you for the date. And then we have Terry Fox. Terry Fox is a really, really big symbol of Canada. Terry Fox symbolizes hope, symbolizes strength, symbolizes determination, symbolizes the kindness. So for those who don't know Terry Fox was, he's from British Columbia. He lost his right leg to cancer when he was only 18. And then he began a cross-country called Marathon of Hope. And that's to raise money for cancer research. He was really going on his foot, and he had lots of support. This was in the 80s, I believe, right? 1980, yeah, sometime.
Yeah.
He had lots of support. People were supporting him, and he was going it's called the Marathon of Hope. And unfortunately, he was not able to complete it. He felt sick again from cancer, like 2/3 way. He was on his way back to BC, like he had only 30% to cross, but he wasn't able to complete it. And then after, I think, a few months, he passed away. So he became a huge symbol of everything, like, you know, determination, kindness, hope, giving, of love, of unity, you know. And he was just a kid, 18 years of age. So that's Terry Fox. And I think in Toronto, in the Hall of Fame, I think it's in Toronto, in the Hall of Fame of the stadium, they have a permanent gallery for Terry Fox, where they have his shoes, they have his t-shirt, they have his legacy. It's like a legacy. Terry Fox becomes like a legacy. So that's a huge symbol of Canada as well.
And we have his statues in front of our BC Stadium as well.
Oh, we have the statue for him?
We have few statues in front of our BC Stadium.
Oh, there you go. So if you go to Vancouver, to the BC Stadium, you look around and you will see the statue for him. I didn't know that, Mustafa. Thank you for adding that. And the marathon is called Marathon of Hope. They might ask you about that as well. And then we have Canadian discoverers and inventors. So there's quite a bunch of them, which you might want to go through. So for example, the people who discovered insulin, which is the hormone that's been used for diabetes. So those were two guys. One of them was from Toronto, which is Sir Frederick Banting, and the other one was American-Canadian, Dr. Charles Herbert Best. So they discovered insulin. And I'm not 100% sure of this information, but I think what happened was one of the things, they didn't take money for it. They gave it for free. They just said this is for the people to use. And I think this is one of the reasons why insulin is available and it's not expensive. They didn't have any patent. So that's another act of kindness. So insulin, which is still used today, was a Canadian and Canadian American discovery. And then you have inventors and discoverers as well. So you have Alexander Graham Bell. I remember I took this when I was in school in 4th grade. And he was a person who, he didn't really discover, he invented, sorry about discover here, it should be invented. He invented a telephone in his summer home in Canada. So so the telephone was a Canadian invention by Graham Bell. Just remember Bell, if you can, difficulty with the names. Bell, like, you know, for bell, ring, ring, ring. So, you know, that could connect it to the telephone if it's easier. And then you have the people who invented the snowmobile as well, which is Joseph Armand Bombardier. He invented a snowmobile, which is what we use right now in the snow, you know, like which is widely used in snow areas. And then you have Sir Fleming, who invented the word system for the zoning, the time zones. You know, when we have a summer zone and you know, time zoning for the world. So this was invented or put in by also Canadian, which is Sir Sandford Fleming. And then you have the electric light bulb, which also quite important invention, like what we're using today in our homes to get some light. And this was done by Matthew Evans and Henry Woodward, which is also another Canadian invention, the light bulb. And then you have the last one here, which is contributed in the invention of the transmission of the first wireless voice message in the world. So it's quite a lot of names you have in the book. I'm not sure which one are more important than the others. I think these are all important inventions. So try to remember those names in your best of your ability. And then you still have, there we go. And then we have surgeons too. So Dr. Wilder Penfield, he was like a pioneer brain surgeon, and he was in the University of Montreal, and he was known as the greatest living Canadian. I'm guessing he was like doing really risky first-time brain surgeries. And then you have Dr. John Hopes, who invented the cardiac pacemaker, which we still use today. You know, people use it to coordinate the heartbeat or to adapt to that, to adjust the heartbeat. So the pacemaker, the cardiac pacemaker, is also a Canadian invention by Dr. John Hopes. And then we have the Canadian, these are guys from the aerospace of the National Research Council. They invented like a robot arm. I'm not sure if this is very important, but something they use in the space station for cargos. And then I don't know, people who were in the 90s, who were like teenagers in the 90s. So there was something called the BlackBerry. Remember the BlackBerry? Which was like before getting the iPhones and before getting the Nokia phones, the mobile, there was a BlackBerry, which had lots of little buttons. So that's belongs to a Canadian company, which the owners or the company that created the BlackBerry. So far, so good. I'm not sure if in the book we have more than this or not, but these I think are the most ones for the book. And again, just the best of your ability to remember those. Any questions so far? Oh, is everyone sleeping?
No, we are awake.
Too many names, like.
Yeah, but I feel like if anyone need to ask or see anything, you just like simply like mute yourself and talk to us.
I just want to make sure my internet is still working, because sometimes I get disconnected and then my internet, I'm still talking and then
don't worry about that. We will of course inform you. And then they are focusing with you, I believe. Hopefully. Too many information.
A lot of information.
Yes.
But it's good. But then, you know, so usually so this is important to know the names, because when they give you when they give you a question in the exam, they can mix it with people from the history part. For example, who invented the, I don't know, the peacemaker, Dr. John Hobbes or Dr. Emily Stove? If you remember, Dr. Emily Stove was a woman who started the suffrage movement, the right to vote. Or they put you, I don't know, John MacDonald, something like that. they can mix it with other names. So try to remember the best of your abilities. All right, so we go to the Canadian regions now. Want to take over, Mustafa or Huda?
Sorry, like Feroz, we are not talking about the economy, like industries or.
I will take care of that part.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Feroz. Thank you very much for the symbols. I think it's very important to remember. I know it's too many names and too many invention and discovery, but please, it's very important to remember. Just before moving to the region, I think there was one lady, she posed a question about the crown. The crown, I think they are referring, because it's when they open the parliament, they walk with these symbols, you know, and you have the crown and the top of it, you know. This is the crown, the upper part of this stick, you know, when they open the parliament. So they are referring to the crown in the upper part of this symbol. Feroz?
Yeah, you want to go on? Okay.
I was just referring to the slide number 5.
Oh, sorry. Should I go back? Sorry about that. Sorry, I was spaced out. My apologies. I should yeah, this one here. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So we are talking about the upper level, you know, of this symbol. Okay. Yeah. So this is the crown here, as you can see it. You know. Okay. So now we're gonna go to the region. You know, I hope I answered the question. Okay.
Is it gonna make it bigger for you guys? Okay. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
You want to go? Okay.
Yeah. So go to the slide number 23, please. 23.
I think I wasn't there, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is 23. Yes, it's just because it's because it's like an animation, so it goes like that.
Okay. So you are okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So Canada, as you know, is the second largest country in the earth. And if you are talking about the area, it's about 10 million square kilometers. So the first country, of course, we are referring to Russia. Russia is the biggest, the largest country on the earth, and Canada is the second largest country on the earth. The population, the Canadian population as of 2020, it's less than 38 million people in here, less than 38 millions. It's a little bit bigger than California in terms of population. Next.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I'm just trying to, my mouse sometimes is not working. There you go.
Thank you. Is it bigger for everybody to see it or not? Okay. So now we are talking about how many provinces and territories we have in Canada. As you can see from this slide, we have 10 provinces and 3 territories. And you can see beside each province is the capital of those provinces. So we are talking about the first 4, the Atlantic provinces. Sometimes you call them maritime provinces. So Atlantic provinces, we are talking about Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick. As you can see in the right of the slide, the capital of Newfoundland and Labrador, it's St. John's. The capital of Prince Edward Island, it's Charlottetown. The capital of Nova Scotia, it's Halifax. And the capital of New Brunswick, it's Fredericton. Then we move to the central of Canada. It's Quebec and Ontario. And the capital of Quebec is Quebec City, and Ontario is Toronto. Many people get confused when they ask for the capital of Quebec and they automatically respond, it's Montreal. It's not Montreal, it's a Quebec City. Then we move to the Prairie. Prairie, we have 3 provinces, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. And the capital of Manitoba is Winnipeg. When we talk about Métis, the Métis, majority of the Métis, they are living in Winnipeg. Then Saskatchewan, and the capital of Saskatchewan is Regina. And then Alberta, and the capital of Alberta is Edmonton. Another confusion when they're asking about the capital of Alberta, many people, they say Calgary. Unfortunately, the capital of Alberta is Edmonton. Then we move to the west coast, which is the British Columbia, and the capital of our province is Victoria. So those are the 10 provinces with their capitals. Then we have 3 territory, Northern Territory, Nunavut, we have the capital Iqaluit, then Northwest Territory, the capital Yellowknife, and Yukon Territory, and the capital is Whitehorse. So those are 3 territories and 10 provinces. So in total, we have 13, 10 provinces and 3 territories. It is very important to know the name of the provinces and territory and their capital.
One thing I would just add, like in the exam, sometimes they tell you which are the Atlantic provinces or which are the Prairie provinces. So you just have to know that which one is for each region of Canada. And one thing, I don't know if that comes in exam or not, but for example, Ontario. So Ontario, in the province of Ontario also has the capital of Canada, which is Ottawa. So in Ontario, you basically have the capital of Ontario province is Toronto, and the capital of Canada, Ottawa, is also in Ontario. So I don't know if that comes like 2 capitals. All right, so just to point it out. Go ahead, sorry.
No, thank you for this. Usually in the Ottawa, there is a division. It's divided by 2 parts. Part of it is Quebec, part of it is Ontario. In the part of the Quebec, it's Gatineau City and Gatineau part, where they're issuing all our travel documents. You know, when you need to apply for travel document, usually the application go to the Gatineau, and that's the part of Ottawa, the French part of it.
Yeah, it's like in between two cities, two regions, right? Like two provinces.
Yeah, there is a bridge dividing between them.
Yeah, which I think comes up in this picture. I don't know. I'm not sure if this is the one. There you go.
Now we are talking about the Ottawa, how it was before and how is now, you know. It used to call by name in Baytown. It was, as May Fayrouz mentioned, it was in Ontario. And it was founded in 1826 by the Lieutenant Colonel John Bay. And you can see from the middle pictures, you know, in 1857, Baytown was named Ottawa after the Algonquian word Adawa, meaning the trade. So those type of questions you might have, you know, what's the meaning of Adawa, what's the meaning of Ottawa, and it was spoken by what language? So please remember the year and the Ottawa, word Ottawa, and the meaning of Ottawa, it's meaning trade. And the last picture on your right-hand side, this slide, you will see Ottawa. It became capital in 1867 after the Confederation. This is where all of our MPs usually meet. You know.
So that's like the parliament, right, Mustafa?
Yeah.
The federal parliament. Okay.
Okay, you remember Fayrouz was mentioning about Fleming, one of the who discovered the time zone. So it's important to remember his name, and also to remember that we have 6 time zones in Canada. And you can see from this slide, we have Newfoundland time, we have Atlantic, we have Eastern, we have Central, we have Mountain, and Pacific. So if in Pacific, which is mean, if we now time, it's about 12 o'clock. So in Quebec, what time should be?
Oh.
So 3 o'clock, yeah, 3 afternoon. So the time zone in between us and Calgary, for example, we have 1 hour difference. So if the time here is 12 and Calgary, it will be 1 o'clock. Yeah. So as you move on, the time zone is changing. So we have one of the questions you may have, how many time zones we have in Canada. So it's important to remember that we have 6 time zones. And also to remember who was the invention and the person who invented the time zone, Sir Fleming, if you remember from the previous presentation made by famous.
Okay.
Next.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are talking about the oceans. We have 3 oceans. East side, we have Atlantic Ocean. In our side, the west side, we have Pacific Ocean. And we have in the north side, we have Arctic Oceans. Unfortunately, we have a lot of ocean lakes and rivers, but the fish is still expensive here. And we should address that question to our new MPs who's running for election, why the fish is very expensive here. Do you have any question about this? Will be one of the questions as well. How many oceans we have, name of the oceans. So please, it's important to remember and to know name of the oceans we have. We are also talking about here the border. The border between us and the United States, it's they refer to it as the longest undefended border in the world. In reality, there is no, it's just a line between us and the United States, and we call it the parallel 49. Yeah, we have a border crossing points, but there is no army, there is no walls, there is nothing between us and the United States. It's very safe, but there is always a patrolling from the land and from the air, and we have a checkpoint as well, but otherwise it's very safe and very independent border. Okay, next. Any questions so far? Okay. This slide illustrated in the Atlantic, the provinces and the resources in those particular provinces and the capital of those provinces. So you can see the Atlantic provinces, the New Brunswick, the capital of New Brunswick, it's Fredericton. And as mentioned before, this is the officially bilingual province, the only officially bilingual province in Canada. If you go to the Nova Scotia, you will see the capital is Halifax. And the most important, we have ports like East Coast Trade Post and West Coast. And Halifax, usually also there is a navy, this navy port in Halifax. If you look at the Newfoundland and Labrador, the capital is St. John's. And Newfoundland was the last province to join the Confederation in 1949. And please remember that the question might be, what was the last province and what was the last territory? The last province was Newfoundland to join the Confederation in 1949, and the last territory was Nunavut to join the Confederation in 1999. So pay attention to the question, is it a territory or the province? So province Newfoundland and territory the Nunavut. Then the other fourth province, Atlantic provinces, is Prince Edward Island. The capital is Charlottetown, and it was the home of Annie. Any questions so far?
No, should I continue?
Okay. If there is no question, please continue to the next one. Now we are talking about the central part of Canada. We are talking about Ontario and Quebec. Ontario, the capital, it's Toronto, and Quebec, the capital is Quebec City. Quebec City, actually, it's the oldest city in North America. It's very beautiful. If you've never been there, it's very recommended to go and see the Quebec City. And Quebec City, where the Battle of Abraham, if you remember from the history part, where it happened, and you can see it from when you go to the chateau, the castle, you can see where the battles happened. Toronto is the biggest and largest province of Canada, and considered a center, business center for Canada.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
The slide shows capital is Toronto. Is it Toronto or Ottawa?
No, Toronto. Ottawa is capital of Canada, yeah? But we are talking about province, yeah? We are
So
talking about
Toronto-
provinces.
Toronto is the capital of
Ontario.
Ontario.
That's correct. That's correct.
So we were talking about two parts of Ottawa, which is the province of national capital as well as provincial capital.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Ottawa, it's a capital of Canada, but the city by itself is a divided. There is a bridge between divided the English part and French part. That bridge, when you cross it, you go to Gatineau. That's the French part. The other part it's Ontario part. So the capital by itself, like part of it is it's belong to Ontario province, and the other part belongs to the Quebec side province. But it's
both together-
one city. Sorry?
The one city is the national capital, the entire city.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. And Quebec, it's very cosmopolitan city in terms of art, in terms of culture. It's distinct from other provinces. But they are the two largest provinces in Canada, and of course, our BC is getting the third one, the third biggest province in Canada. Next, please. Now we are talking about the prairie. Those slides always also illustrated the resources in each province. As you can see, Alberta, you will see the capital is Edmonton. You will see the home of Athabasca oil sands. So those are the resources in that particular province. If you go to Saskatchewan, the capital is Regina, and the wheat province. Those prairie provinces, actually, they are very flat. If you drive and you have auto drive, the car is not going anywhere. There is no bump, nothing. It's very flat provinces when you take highway number 1 coming across prairie provinces. But those are the very rich. Saskatchewan particularly, it's in wheat, producing wheat. Then if you go to Manitoba, the capital is Winnipeg. It's a largest community like French, Ukrainian, and Indigenous hub. But as mentioned, the majority of Métis are living in this province, Manitoba. And in Manitoba, I think by some estimate, they have 5,000 to 10,000 lakes in Manitoba. And in Winnipeg, you know, they opened, in the last few years, they opened a beautiful, largest museum of human rights. It's quite interesting, big, and a landmark of Manitoba. Next, please.
Excuse me. And I have a question, Mustafa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was it in Saskatchewan where the RCMP get the training as well? Like
yeah. They have a,
like the head
for whoever, for training. For whoever wants to join the RCMP, you know, they have to go through 1 year training. Sorry.
in Saskatchewan, right?
I think so. So they have 1 year training before becoming a member of RCMP. So after you go, all federal position, it's quite long process. You apply for a certain position, you go through the interview, you go through the language test, but for the RCMP also physical test, mental health, and lie detector, you know. But in addition, also you go 1 year for training. Even if you don't pass the training, your application will be rejected. So after completion, all the steps, including the training, then you become a member of RCMP. Is it clear? Any questions? Can you please show slide number 31?
Yeah, you see it?
Okay. So now we are talking about the territories, yeah? Yukon Territory, the capital, it's Whitehorse. It's home of Mountain Logan, it's famous mountain. And also it's a lot of caribou, you see in the picture. Then Nunavut, our last territory, it's quite new territory. And it's joined the Confederation in 1999. Yeah. The capital is Iqaluit, and the language, the official language, Inuktitut. That's the official language. And when we are talking about the Canadian Ranger, you see in the picture, you know, they are like a border guard, you know, because it's close to the Arctic. So as you can see from this slide, they are kind of border guard, but we call them Canadian Rangers. Then the Northwest Territory, the capital Yellowknife, and it's famous with the polar bears, you know. And also they have rangers on indigenous land as well, you know, there. You know. So in two, Nunavut and Northwest Territory, you will see Canadian Rangers. You know. It's equal to the border agency. You know.
Yeah.
Any question?
Police, right? Yeah, also the police system there. Yeah.
Any question about those provinces and territories? It's one way also to learn about the name, the capital, and the resources in those provinces and territories. Yeah?
So I just want to highlight what Mustafa was mentioning, that there are two facts about Nunavut. First fact, it was the last territory to join the Confederation in 1999. The second fact is the official language is still Aboriginal language, Inuktitut. It's not, so this is the official language for Nunavut. So these are two facts about Nunavut to remember. And they have the rangers.
I have a question with the official language. So when we ask what is the official language of the country, so we have English and French. However, the official language of this territory is not English and French.
I think Yeah, I think, sorry, I will go ahead and you can add.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. I think the English and French will be still available in those territories, especially, always you have to remember all the federal department anywhere in Canada,
state level, right?
including the territories, they are available. They have to have somebody who speaks French and English.
Yeah.
So if you go to Nunavut, any federal department, whether it's fishery or immigration, and you speak French, you can request services in French. Or if you speak English, you can request to speak in English.
Yeah.
So those are languages available there as well. But probably in terms of education and businesses, like
on
in
provincial
Quebec,
level, right?
Yeah, in Quebec, also, if you go to Quebec, to Montreal or Quebec, you will see a lot of signs and businesses. And when you enter the store, first they will speak to you in French, then you can switch in English. So I think that's the reference, especially in terms of education, just to preserve the cultural, and I think that's the reason behind it.
And
go ahead, please, if you had anything.
It is the only province that has an Aboriginal language as a first language, as an official language, because the other province, they don't. No other province. So my question would be, is there other province who has an official language different from English and French, as Nunavut?
No, to my knowledge, no. But if Feroz and Huda, if they have any information, they can provide it. Go ahead, please. To my knowledge, no.
No, not to mine either. And as Mustafa was mentioning, so the English and French are always present in every province at least for the federal level. But then the local language, official local language, like when you go to stores or education, is going to be for like British Columbia, we have English. Quebec, for example, is French. Nunavut is going to be in Inuktitut, if I'm saying it right.
So if I go there to buy groceries, everything is in.
No, they should still speak English and French, because that's the official language of Canada. They still, so I'm guessing they still should be able to connect with English and French, or French, one of them, I don't know, or both.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you go to the federal department, you have the right to request the service in English or French. But if you go to the territory office, for example, for any services in there, so probably the first language will be the native language, and then you can ask for English language if it's not federal. So those languages still will be available for service.
Yes. Go next.
Feroz, yeah, go next, please.
Oh, sorry, I had this. I haven't mentioned that, the Canadian Rangers. Sorry about that. Yeah.
So can you go to 32, please?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now we are talking about the West Coast, which is our beautiful province, British Columbia. And the capital, as you can see, it's Victoria. And we have the Canada Pacific Gateway because we are close to the Pacific Asia. And as you can see, the resources, we have a lot of bears, and we have Western red cedar, and we are very famous with the First Nation art. As you can see in the airport, we have the famous sculpture of the famous First Nation artist, B. Reid, and it's made from the jade. Jade, it's a green kind of stone, yeah. When you go to Squamish in your way, there is a mining museum, and you will see the store with a lot of jade. It's kind of green stones, yeah. So this sculpture in the airport, you see it's made from the jade, by the famous artist B. Reid, and he's the First Nation famous artist. Next, please. here we are talking about the resources on the West Coast and the beautiful picture of our downtown, famous stellar jaybird. We are here the picture about the Parliament in Victoria, salmon variety, which we are complaining they are very expensive, we should be cheaper, and kind of flower, famous flower in BC, and the dogwood flower.
And we have the Parliament of BC in Victoria,
Yeah.
where the elected assembly they meet. If you go to Victoria, it's really nice building. You can.
We are the warmest place in Canada.
Sorry.
We are the warmest place in Canada.
Yeah,
right?
it's very nice, Victoria.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay.
Next, please.
Yeah, this is next. So some reason we have this.
So this this map, the Canadian map, you can see from each province. It's very the resource available in that particular province, and the capital of those province, and the straight line, as somebody was mentioning, why it's straight line, and then we have to go back to it again, and the boundaries of the province, and you will see the oceans, the Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and Arctic Ocean, and you will see the 3 territories and the 10 provinces, and it's very important to remember all the names, please. Then it's very important to know the 10 provinces and the 3 territories, their capitals, and the area of Canada. It's about 10 million square kilometers, and the population, which is a little bit less than 38 million people. Next, please.
Excuse me, one question.
Okay.
What is the difference between being a province or being a territory?
Yeah, I think that the province, they have more more resources. For example, when the Ottawa do the budget, so the budget divided, each province, they get certain amount of money. So this money can be spent in the health, education, infrastructures, so they have more resources, access to more resources, more. And I think it's also depends on the size of the the province, population, and they can allocate more resources if you are a province than if you are a territory. And the other word, they have more power. But Fairuz, Huda, you want to add something?
Yeah, I just it says here maybe more as you mentioned, the proof I think the difference is that while province exercise constitutional power in their own right, the territories exercise delegated power under the authority of the Parliament of Canada. So this is that different.
Yeah.
From the website, from the Canada was the Government Canada website. It says like this.
So that basically means that the provinces are more independent from the Government of Canada. They have their own budget and they have their own system. Whereas, if I understood that right, while the territories, they work under the federal government. They don't. Yeah. Is that so? Because maybe, as most folks mentioning, it have less resources. It's a smaller area, less population.
Yeah.
So
and then if you want to go for details, you will go to the provinces and territory acts, I believe. Yeah. So
I think I post something in the chat. This is in terms of the Constitution distinction between the province and territory.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's more about resources. Resources they are getting from Ottawa.
And you can also check this link, guys, for more information.
That's a very good question, actually. I never thought about what's the difference exactly. That's a very good question to investigate for me to know.
Thank you. Can you go to next, please?
Yeah, yes. And I'm gonna go to next. Review.
So here we have some questions and answers, just as a practice, yeah? So everybody can see. Is it visible? It's good for everyone can see?
Yes.
So the question number one, for example, which territory? Please pay attention. We are talking about territory, not province.
If you could, we have a background noise. If you can mute yourself, please.
So the question number one, which territory was the last to join the Dominion of Canada in 1999? Like the year it's here as a hint, for you. They give you more hint in this question. It is name mean our land in Inuit language. So this question, you can refer to it in the page number 51. What was the last territory to join?
Nunavut.
Yes.
That's correct. Yeah. Question number two, the name of this province mean where the river get narrow. You know the answer?
That was in the history part, day one.
Quebec.
Quebec, where the river
Oh my goodness, we have
gets narrow, yeah?
Yes.
Question number three, which Atlantic province boasts the largest port and naval base?
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia, yeah. So that's in the page number 46 in your discovery book. So British Columbia has the most extensive park system in Canada. Is it true or false?
True.
True.
True, and that's the page number 49. The largest city and financial center in Canada is?
Toronto.
Toronto, that's correct, page number 48. Which port is known as Canadian Asia Pacific Gateway?
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
BC Port,
Yes.
Vancouver, yeah,
Waterfront.
page number 49. Is it true or false? Montreal is the only official bilingual province,
False.
and about 1/3 who lives there speak and work in French.
It's false.
False. And what was the
False.
only province officially?
New Brunswick.
That's correct.
Yes.
Great job.
You got a medal, everyone.
Wow.
Next, Feroz.
Yeah.
So this question is the Canadian region that's mostly dry with cold winter and hot summers is?
Prairie.
Prairies.
No, it's
Yeah,
central region.
I think it should be prairie because
It's
the answer here is not correct. The answer should be the prairie. If you look at the page number 48, can somebody locate it?
Yeah, it's the prairie because it gives you the page number next to the answer. Is a prairie.
So that's prairie, yeah?
Yes.
We will move this answer to the prairie, yeah?
Oh, it's already the prairie. What do you see different answer?
Yeah, it was under the central.
Okay, no. Do you see
So
the
we can-
48? It's next to the prairie on D.
Okay, sounds good. If you have it under prairie, that's
Yeah, as long
fine.
as you guys seeing it, it's fine.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
It's the prairie, yeah?
Right.
Okay. I have it under central region. That's wrong.
Yeah, maybe it's an older version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next, the province in which the training academy of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police is located is?
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan, yeah, that's correct. That's the page number 48, yeah. Feroz just mentioned that recently, yeah. Okay, next question. Which province experienced an era, especially rapid change during 1960. Some hint for you an event as known as the Quiet Revolution.
Quebec.
It's Quebec.
Yes.
That's correct. That's correct. Quebec. Next, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police serve as the provincial police in all provinces and territory except which of the following province territory? Which one?
Ontario and Quebec. P.
That's correct. That's correct. You did very good job. So those are sample of the testing. Yeah? Tomorrow will be the revision of question and answer. And I think one of our colleagues will send you, maybe she already sent you questions, which we will go over tomorrow. Huda and Fayrouz and I tomorrow will facilitate tomorrow's session because we have questions and answer. And we will start with Huda. She will go through the type of exam, and if you don't pass the exam, what's the procedure, next step, and step number 2 and step number 3. And after that, we will go over the question and answers. And probably one of my colleagues will email you the questions today, so at least you can have it for tomorrow before we start the question and answers.
Mustafa?
Any question so far for this for today's session?
Mustafa, I have sent the questions yesterday. Please,
Oh,
guys,
thanks.
if you haven't received it, so just let me know.
And you sent question for 2 days, I think, but the history part, did you send the history part
Yeah,
as well?
I sent 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? Fayrouz, have you received it? Because I still see you.
I have received it, I think, yes. I've seen it. There were like 4 attachments.
Yeah, the 4 attachment, it was about 2 days. Would you please check it, because the 4 attachment was about 2 sessions. There is 2 more about the history day 1 and history day number 2.
Yeah, we'll
We will check it out. We'll double check it.
Yeah, we'll double check and we'll email it to you guys, so at least you have it before tomorrow and you have it in front of you, so tomorrow you will be ready when you go over it. Yeah. Any question before we end the session?
Yeah, it's fine.
Claudia, I think Claudia,
Oh.
she posted something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Claudia, for your participation, and we will email you the questions. And if you have any question, you can always contact us, and we'll gladly answer your question.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Claudia.
And good luck.
Thank you.
And good luck. Yeah.
Thank you, bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Jolie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Huda, you took the names? Copy of the names?
Yes, I took the picture.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's just